Premier League football returns to Villa Park this afternoon as the race for the Champions League qualification pits Unai Emery's side against Newcastle United. 5 points separate the two sides with 6 left to play. The Magpies on the back of a 5-0 win over Palace, whereas Villa will look to replicate their performance midweek, which saw them go toe-to-toe with PSG in the Champions League. It's Matchday Live from Villa Park. My name is Kate Tracy, alongside 3 former villains. We have Ahmed El Mohammadi, James Chester and Alan McAnally on the quick turnaround, Al.
Yeah, it is a bit of a quick turnaround. Still reeling a little bit from Tuesday night with huge pride and disappointment because we had opportunities as good as we knew they were in the first leg and, to be fair, the first half. But the second half, the guys were absolutely unbelievable, and gave us a ride of all rides. And I'll say what we said on Tuesday. We have been so good in Europe. We've taken such a big step, and I just hope the gaffer has relayed to the boys about how important the game is today, because now our domestic form means we want to be in the same position again. The players want to be playing in that format. We want to be playing teams like Bayern and Juve and PSG, and it's just been a great ride in the Champions League. It was probably more than anybody thought we would actually get, and yet we were a whisker away from, you know, if Donnarumma doesn't make all those saves, then you never know. We might have got them, you know, we might have been in the semi-final.
Oh, James, it was some night, wasn't it? And we talk about the quick turnaround. You could see it of one of 2 ways. The fact that there might be a slight hangover, disappointment for Villa. But as Alan said there, you can see it the other way, where it's given the incentive to the lads to go on, to get those Champions League places in the league, to be able to have nights like that again.
Yes, certainly. I think with the game on a Tuesday night being so fresh in the memory as well, you know, that feeling, that emotion that they'll have of the game and the Champions League as a whole this season will be something that they'll want to relive. And get to play against Newcastle today and rivals for those spots, it's a huge game and a massive incentive.
And Elmo, the fact that Villa can go toe-to-toe with a team like PSG, who could well go on and win the whole Champions League, prove themselves to be the best club team in the world, that should give Villa every bit of confidence that they can be anyone.
Of course, yeah, you can see. I think, in my opinion, you know, they are the best team in the competition. PSG, they got so much talent in their team, and then you can see, and especially in that second half here at Villa Park, we matched them. Even we were much better than them in the second half. To be fair, you know, take away the first 20 minutes, we were top team. You know, everyone was watching. Even, you know, after the game, they just told us, you know, the best team we faced this season, you know, it's Aston Villa. So it just tells you everything about our team. So today is going to be a reaction from Tuesday night. So I know it's a few changes you're going to touch on in the lineup in a bit. But the few changes today, this is a great thing for the manager. You have a big squad now. You have everyone is fit. No one single player is injured, which is, touch wood, is absolutely fantastic for the manager. So many games coming, you know. I know we are out of the Champions League now, but you got FA Cup coming. You got 6 finals in the league now, so you need everyone. You need everyone. So I think today is going to be a big game for us. You know, it's a 6-point game. We played Newcastle in the last few years, you know, a lot of games, but we don't have a good record against Newcastle. So we need to change that today. So we have to start well today. You know, we didn't start well on Tuesday night. We conceded 2 goals in the first 20 minutes. So it's going to be, the start today is going to be massive for us. If we score first, I think we will win the game easily.
Villa nearly pulled off the unthinkable, didn't they, against PSG? So let's take a look back at Tuesday night.
Ready for the night of nights here. Dembele's in the penalty box, dangerous ball in. Martinez gets a touch, but it's fallen loose and it's into the net. And Paris Saint-Germain have the goal that they'd have been looking for. He's forward again, plays it towards Mendes. Mendes with the goal. Oh, it's in off the post. Villa have got it all to do. Capitalise on this. Still Tielemans. Little back into Rashford. The jump again. Back out to the left on top. Tielemans deflected it in. Hope springs eternal for Aston Villa. Begin on the outside McGinn. Might go for goal! John McGinn into the corner it flies. Is it on? Is on. Inside the first challenge, still Rashford into the penalty box, calls the byline, pulls it back. Goal! Gonza! For Rashford, Gonza! Oh, couldn't quite make contact. It's with Merton. Oh, it's blocked away. That might have been the moment. Paris Saint-Germain will take their place in the semi-finals of the Champions League. But boy, what a fright Aston Villa gave them.
Oh, it was agonising, wasn't it? For all that we are gutted, we are more than proud about the other night. Some fantastic goals as well, Alan, in the fight back. And of course, starting with Yuri Tielemans' goal.
Super goal, super finish. To be fair, I expect of Yuri Tielemans when he gets in that position now to not just hit the target but score as a goal. It was really good football by us. Moved the ball in. Tielemans makes the space on the left-hand side, and it's a really good finish, genuinely good finish. And that sort of gave us, that actually kick-started our game a little bit, because it just put them in the back foot, because they were actually cruising at the time at 2-0, and it's a super finish. To be fair, it takes a deflection off the big Brazilian Pacho, but nevertheless it was still a really good finish. I don't know if Donnarumma would have saved it anyway. And genuinely, to get to half-time in touch with them, I think gave the boys a little bit of belief, and quite rightly, like Elmo said, we played so well at the start of the second half, and we had a huge bit of momentum. And just watching the little montage there, the header from Ezra, I still can't believe he hasn't touched it, because you and I were just right here watching it, and even Ezra must have been sitting the other night thinking, really? I can't believe I haven't touched it. But nevertheless, I don't want to harp too much on Tuesday, albeit we're talking about it. It was a brilliant performance. And if we can score 3 goals against a team like PSV, I expected to score a couple today.
John McGinn on the score sheet as well, James. And we spoke about him in the first leg against PSG. In terms of a Villa perspective, it was probably a man of the match performance, a proper captain's performance again the other night. And for him to come through with a goal as well was the icing on the cake for him. Yeah,
it was a really, really good goal, especially the timing of it, so shortly after second half. And that's what John gives you. He carries the ball, and it's difficult to play against because
he's direct, wasn't he, James?
He was terrific.
Like, take the ball as far as you can. If nobody closes you down, and the goal was unbelievable.
He just kept going and going, and so I think he got to a point where even John thought, I can't not shoot it. But it was wonderful timing in the game, and it brought Villa Park alive. Scored a third so quickly after.
As you say,
it made wonderful spectating.
The third came so fast after, didn't it, from Ezri Konsa then? And like you say, it just set the tone. John McGinn, Ezri Konsa on the score sheet as well, Elmo.
Yeah, but Ezri's goal is all about Rashford, the work he did there, just let him not make here, see you later, and then he chopping the other one. This is what Marcus, capable of, just taking people on, And Ezri, of course, it's a good finish. You just see in there. I thought it was Morgan or someone attacking player, but Ezra is capable to finish. Goals like that as well. But what did I say about Rashford? Is just the second half he was absolutely on fire. The whole defense of PSG just scared of him, and then to do this, it was unbelievable. It's a great finish from Ezra. No chance for Donnarumma this time to take it. But that second half, honestly, if we carry on playing from now until the end of the season like the second half, no one will stand against us.
I mean, he got a bit of stick, Rashford, to be for his first half performance, but I thought it was really difficult for him to get into the game. And he tried to take players on. He really tried on his own up top there, but certainly in the second half, with the momentum he had, he came into the game even more. And I thought he picked up the baton and really drove us forward. He's probably a little unlucky he got taken off by the manager, but he'd worked so hard that we're still bringing on the likes of Jacob and obviously Ollie Watkins. So listen, full marks to the boys the other night there. We were just a fraction from getting us into a position where we wanted to be.
Full marks to them, the character, the spirit that they showed. Hopefully they can bring that into today's game, because we do have team news to bring you now. Now starting, of course, with Aston Villa. Now we have 4 changes for Villa from PSG in midweek. Emi Martinez in goal, Matty Cash at right back, Ezri Konsa, but Tyrone Mings comes into defence. John McGinn, our captain. Yuri Tielemans, as always, makes his start. Ollie Watkins, though, gets his start, as does Marco Asensio and Ian Maatsen at left-back, Morgan Rogers and Boubacar Kamara. But yet again, such a strong bench for Aston Villa. Now, in terms of Newcastle, they have 0 changes, which we weren't anticipating any sort of changes for them by any means. Nick Pope in goal, Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, Joel Linton, Sandro Tonali. So we're going to have to really control that midfield. Harvey Barnes, who's been amongst the goals of late, as of course has Alexander Isak, Tino Livramento, Jacob Murphy, again, the form that he has been in, Dan Burn, and their captain, Bruno Guimaraes. Right, Elmo, starting with Aston Villa, 4 changes. What strikes you first?
Yeah, of course, you expected, changes from Tuesday night. A lot of work the lads put on mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. But, the good thing, like I said, it's a good thing for the manager to just rotate players now, because so many games come and you're playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. So expected Oli to start, to be honest. I was expecting him to start against PSG, but he didn't. So after that, Southampton came on, scored a great goal, To be fair, I was disappointed a little bit from Asensio. It didn't give him the penalty, because if he scored, it would equal Gabi Agbolahor record, So I hope for Oli today to score and then to equal that record, because Gabi just give us a headache all the time. So we just need Oli now to take over. So yeah, it's good for the manager now. It's refreshing everyone. Maatsen on the left-hand side has got a big job on his hands today, because he's playing against one of the players who's in a very good form now. Jacob Murphy is a very good for them, assisting, scoring goals. So it's very important for Maatsen now to get some help from the midfield, the likes of Kamara or Tielemans. Since you starting as well, you need this kind of the players, because when Newcastle gives you, between lines, you need this player to find the space between lines to go and counter-attack them. So yeah, it's good from the manager, changing players now, giving everyone a chance now. So yeah, it's a good starting line for us.
And James, we've got the ability at Villa to be able to make these changes. We saw 8 changes against Nottingham Forest, still managed to beat them, and they were 3rd in the table at the time. We've now got the other 3rd in the table this time around. 4 changes, but again, it just goes to show the strength and depth of Villa.
Yeah, I think I've spoke about this before when I've been here speaking to you. The strength of the squad now is so important when the club's fighting on the European front, trying to get Champions League qualification again and still in the FA Cup. It's vital that you've got competition in places, because it always keeps the players on their toes. And I think it's important that he's freshened it up this evening with the game from Tuesday night. It was so emotional and mentally as well.
I thought it was interesting, Alan, with Tyrone Mings coming into defence. Is that because of the physicality that Newcastle present? Maybe.
I just think the gaffer's freshened it up a little bit. I mean, genuinely, the changes he's made, I think Ollie deserves to get a chance starting in again, because Marcus has had a couple of go up there, worked really hard the other night. I think he's just freshening things up. Maatsen coming into full-back area, and Tyrone has waited and patiently waited. Pau Torres had a big game. The two, Ezri and himself are a good partnership. And the physicality, I suppose, kind of, but I think more in terms of what Dan Burn brings them and sets free kicks for and against, then we have Tyrone in our ranks, and I think that might be to combat that a little bit. So Gaffer's thinking on big term in terms of what might happen in the game. But I don't have a problem with any of the changes. I think Elmo's right. I think Asensio in the middle of the park is vital for us today, because we need to not necessarily control the middle of the park, but with Joel Linton, who's been sensational getting forward, Tonali, who's been very good as well, regardless of everybody else, with their full-backs bombing on. I think he'll be a big player for us too. So himself and Tielemans trying to organise that and get the ball into those wide areas, and also get it up for Ollie Watkins. Will hopefully be just playing on the angle rather than with his back to goal today. So yeah, not a problem with the team, and I think it's a good team. And I think more importantly, out with Tyrone Mings, we will create chances today, Kate. I really do. And if we do that, we'll get a couple of goals and hopefully put them away.
Is the midfield for Newcastle the danger part?
They've been, Tonali is, to be fair, one of my favourite players since
he's been good, Elmo, isn't he?
Yeah, since he was at Milan, to be honest. He reminds me of Pirlo back in the day, this kind of player. He can dictate games, he can control the game, he can shoot, he can drive. So he's a full package, and he got, Bruno next to him as well. He's been fantastic. So yeah, the midfield is a massive task for everyone today. So it's good we have John McGinn there, because John is a very physical player. He can give them a bit, just get the fans up there, So midfield is very important, but more important is wide areas. They got Harvey Barnes and Jacob as well, like I said. So they've been fantastic for them. Our 2 fullbacks need to be at their game today, because for them, they always rely on the wingers to put crosses in the box for Isaac. And to be be fair, you know, one of the biggest things for me today is set pieces. They got Big Dan Burn there. They got Sherry, fantastic in set pieces. You know, Isaac. So set pieces for us today. I know Aston worked a lot on the training ground, but for us, we need to focus on the set pieces because last time they were here last year, you know, they just scored from 2 set pieces. You know, Sherry scored 2 goals. So we have to be focused on that thing on the game today.
Okay. Who are you saying? Kieran Trippier?
I've known Kieran Trippier since he was at Burnley. And I remember back doing Sky Television with Paul Merson a long time ago, I said, this boy is going to be a superstar. And I'm talking, I don't know, 15 years ago, and what he's gone, Burnley, then he's obviously gone to Atletico Madrid, and now he's done fantastically well, and I've been friendly with him for ages. I just tried to grab him really hard there and try squeeze
do your part.
But it was lovely seeing him, and I just wished him no luck whatsoever, incidentally. But he's been a big factor of Newcastle. We'll talk about fullbacks and his delivery, crosses, never mind being free kick specialists as well. You know, they've got some very good players in the team. But yeah, lovely to see him. But I'll see him after with a bit of luck. He won't be so happy.
No, hopefully not. As I said, hopefully that wasn't a lucky pat. Anyway, right, should we have a look at the run-in then, in terms of what Villa have got? Because of course we're getting to the crunch part of the season. So let's just have a look actually at the run-in that Aston Villa have got. If your eyes are still good enough here.
Nearly.
So Aston Villa, we see their next few games, of course, Newcastle at home today, Man City away in just a few days' time, Fulham at home, Bournemouth away, Spurs at home, and the final day of the season, United away. Now, in terms of the teams who are in the hunt for Champions League football there, which one of those 4, James, are you expecting to fall away? Chelsea, perhaps, given the form that they're in and the run-in that they've got as well, if you can see that?
Yeah, it's not as good as it used to be, but yeah, I think of the teams there, Chelsea's form is the worst at the moment, but again, with the squad they have, you know, they're capable of putting wins together. I actually think it's going to be an exciting run into the end of the season. It's going to
hugely exciting run-in.
The title's pretty much wrapped up. But
I'll give you my prediction on top 5 because we got top 5 teams in the Champions League. You know, Liverpool, you know, winning the league for sure. 2nd, Arsenal. 3rd, Man City. 4th and 5th is going to be between Villa and Newcastle.
Okay, between these two, do you think? Alan, your predictions for the final 5?
It's a half-decent run. I think Fulham here obviously will be looking to beat them. You know, in between, by the way, sprinkled is a semi-final of the FA Cup at Wembley coming up as well for us. The last game away from home against Man United, let's hope they're in the final of that Europa League then, and we can concentrate more on that. It's not an easy run-in for us. You know, we go to City on Tuesday, and even going to Bournemouth is a tough game because they're tough at home, Bournemouth. But nevertheless, I've got to agree with Elmo. I think we have enough in our team, improved, we have enough. We just have to have a strong finish. You know, recovery is important, and regardless of the game, so the boys are ready for a game like this against a team that's been putting everybody away. So I'm going to say we get 5th, as I think we're good enough to get 5th, and it'd be brilliant if we can get back in the Champions League.
The ball is very much in our court, isn't it, in terms of Villa? And as long as they win the games that they have to win, Aston Villa, then really it's up to them because all of the points are on offer therefore. Now, in terms of current form then for both of these sides, Newcastle and Villa, coming into today, they both come here in flying form, as we know, James, where we look back at Aston Villa's recent form. Of course, they faced a few teams of late that should really have been beating anyway, but with Newcastle, now it would be 6 unbeaten games in a row if you count the Carabao Cup final as well. But in terms of Premier League form, though, 5 wins on the bounce. That loss for Aston Villa for Crystal Palace one at Selhurst Park.
Yeah, it's going to make for a really interesting game today. I think from Newcastle's perspective, the run that they've been on, especially after winning the final, has been really impressive to watch. For so long about silverware to not rest on that and continue to pick up the results. So it's going to be a difficult afternoon today, but it's a game I'm thoroughly looking forward to watching, and hopefully we come out on the right side of it and bring them closer to us for the Champions League.
It might be a good idea, not a good idea, it might be just a following on our lap today that it's Newcastle we play today. We know what the job in hand is, we know how well they're doing, and although we came off a bit of a bitter defeat for us on Tuesday night, you know, with the boys realising what's at stake here, I don't know whether it's a bad thing we play Newcastle today, because they know exactly what they've got to do today. They'll need to work as hard as they did in the second half and make sure they follow runners into the box, etc., and create chances. So listen, it's a tough game for us today, but if we were all sitting in the dressing room ready to go today, we'd be like, yeah, we know exactly what's coming today, and we need to make sure we're ready for sure.
make you switch on
Yeah,
more,
absolutely,
don't they? They
100%.
look after themselves a little bit, whereas
Yeah.
if you're playing against teams low down the table, it can be easy to switch off. So I think Alan's right. It's a really good opponent for us to be playing today.
That's very true. Like you say, Elmo, the fact that we're facing Newcastle where we could have the hangover, as we've seen earlier on in the season from Champions League nights, the next night not being able to get themselves up for the games quite as well, as said Yuri Tielemans actually to us in the podcast that day. But when it's Newcastle, there's so much on the line, a 6-point game, it actually, bizarrely, might be an ideal game to have.
This is changing in the last few games. You know, if you remember, when we played Bruges, we went away to Brentford and we beat them after Champions League night. We went to PSG. I know we got beat there, but we went to Southampton and we get the win. But this changed now, the mentality. You know why? Because we got a full squad now, and the manager got the availability for every single player, and then you can change, you can rotate, and everyone is fit, everyone is ready to play. But it seems this fixture in the last couple of years, you know, it seems like a derby, you know, because we both teams, big clubs, compete in the Champions League every year, so it seems like a derby every year, you know, and everyone is looking forward to it, and then it's been televised in every single game in the last couple of years. That's why it's so important for everyone. So I'm expecting us to win today. I'm expecting the 3 points, but we need to start well. Like I said, you know, don't start like we started against PSG. I know we won the game, but we didn't start well. You know, I have to concede 2 goals today to start the game. You have to start from the first minute. And then the team that the manager picked today, a lot of fresh players coming into the team, so this is going to help us as well.
Should we hear from 2 of the goal scorers then against PSG, John McGinn and Ezri Konsa, sat down with the Villa TV team earlier on this week?
Looking back over the campaign, we can be delighted. Obviously, we felt we had more. We felt we could have progressed to the semi-final, but over the season we put in a really good performance, and I think for us it was to put ourselves back on the map in European football and compete with the best teams and best players, and I think we managed to do that.
I think we can all be proud of ourselves of what we managed to achieve in the Champions League this season. Like you said before, obviously disappointed that we didn't quite make it, but no, like I said, very proud. You know, now I think we have to keep that standard up, and you know, with the games we have left, and hopefully manage to qualify for Champions League again.
You obviously need to pick and choose how you attack wisely in every Champions League game, but we had nothing to lose, so thankfully managed to get a goal. It got a little deflection, but from there I think it gave us a bit of belief. Ezri scores straight after, and then from there we had a few chances. So I think PSG were a little bit shocked and surprised after they went 2-0 up. I think they thought they were going to have an easy night, but credit to the lads, we dug deep, and we proved that Villa Park's a really tough place to come.
It was really special, especially scoring the Champions League. It was something that I've always wanted to do as a kid, you know, growing up watching Champions League football, and to obviously be in it and play in it, and not only that, but to be able to score in the quarterfinals was a special moment for me. So yeah, like Guinea said, you know, I don't think people actually believed in us when we went 2-0 down, but you know, like Guinea said, we had nothing to lose at that point, and we went all out and we proved that we can actually compete at the highest level and compete with the best teams.
We're really strong at home. We've made it a tough place to go, especially over the past few seasons. But Newcastle are playing really well. They're strong. They're a tough team to play against. I think our record against them at Villa Park over the past few seasons is strong, and they hammered us at St James's Park earlier this season. So we know how important the game is. They're in probably their best run of the season since winning the cup. So it's a huge game for both teams. They obviously are 5 points ahead of us, but it's our job to try and close that gap and stay on their toes. And definitely Saturday's a massive game and 6-pointer really.
I think over the past couple of seasons we've seen how strong they can be defensively and going forward. So I think for us it's important to focus on our game, and important that we get our crowd behind us early doors, and hopefully that will help us get the win.
Yeah, great to hear from John McGinn and Ezri Konsa there. And they were in good form, Elmo, as well. I feel like they feel like the rest of us, they probably are more gutted than any of us. But their reflections, they are very measured about it and how well Villa have done.
Ezri's been consistent in every season he's been playing, you know. Talking about John McGinn, both legs against PSG, he was our best player, you know. This is like a captain performance, you know. You're going away, you're playing against the best team in the competition, and the way he played, he was fantastic. The game here as well, he was just like, you know, out of this world. He was man of the match, to be honest. They give it to Dembele, I know, after the game, but for me, John McGinn was, you know, he put the performance of the captain you need and you just expecting from him, and he's been in a good form in the scoring as well. He scored against Southampton away, he scored against PSG, so hopefully a hat-trick for John McGinn today. Score 3 in the Spain.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Like I say, he's really got his scoring boots on at present, hasn't he? And he has been delivering those captain performances as well. And the physicality that he presents and the bit of a hustle and bustle, surely that's going to suit facing Newcastle.
Yeah, I think so. Like I touched on before, the way John plays makes it really difficult for opposition teams. And yeah, I think if the team's not quite at it, John makes a difference in the way he approaches the game physically. And he's a huge asset to the football club. And I think it's, you know, even with the changes today, it's no surprise that John's in the team.
And in terms of Ezri Konsa then as well, of course he got the goal the other night. He's been chipping in with goals as and when he kind of can do for a central defender. Of course he did have that chance towards the end of the game as well. As we know, it was agonising, but there are a whole load of chances Villa had to take. But in terms of Ezri Konsa, what have you seen from him this season? Has it been different leadership qualities that you've seen brought into his game?
I think he's grown up a little bit, Kate. I think last year he's a bit of a Rolls Royce of a football player, actually, because there's times in the game where I think he thinks it's too easy for him and sometimes might get caught, but most of the time recovers brilliantly. So I stand by my Rolls Royce defender statement, because I think he's that good. In fact, Tuchel played him first in the England team the other week there, so I think that's exactly how far he's come, and I think he's a starter when he's fit, exactly the way Tielemans is for us. I mean, he'd be gutted he never, you know, made contact with that corner actually against PSV, but he's a brilliant. He's a big-time player. John McGinn's a big-time player. This is a big game for us. I expect him to step up today because he's against the likes of Harvey Barnes cutting into him, obviously Isaac, etc., etc. So it's going to be a tough one. The two of them at the centre-backs, regardless of the full-backs, are going to have to be on it today. But he's a wonderful, wonderful football player, and I think under Emery, he's got even better, and I think that's brilliant for Aston Villa Football Club.
And in terms of big game players and England call-ups as well, Ollie Watkins. Elmo was saying earlier on, Jace, 1 goal off Gavi Agbonlahor's Premier League record now. How satisfying will that be for him to achieve?
I imagine it'd be extremely satisfying as a goal scorer. You come to a football club, you marked on the goals you score in. Well, I think his work rate and how he performs for the team is huge as well. And I'm sure he'll have the bit between the teeth, not having started the last 3 games. And yeah, I don't think the Newcastle defence will be someone they're particularly looking forward to playing against.
And in terms of what he can do off the bench as well, we know he hasn't been the easiest time for him this season, Elmo. But we saw against Southampton, he came on the pitch, he was on it for 3 minutes for winning a penalty, and then goes and scores 7 minutes after being on the pitch. So he's had to show different character to his game. Yeah,
he's still doing his job, you know. He's coming on, he's scoring goals in big moments. You can see the game against Southampton when he comes on, he was just working his socks off to get that goal. And to be fair, you know, I was desperate for him to take that penalty because I just want that record going from Gabi, you know, give us a headache all the time. So I was talking to Oli before the game, you know, I was just like, 2 things today, Oli, please, you know, get that goal to get off the record, and then you're my captain in my fantasy, so I hope for him, you know, to score today.
We haven't had the fantasy league mentioned for quite a while, actually. That was brought that right back.
I got 3 players from Villa today because actually they played 2 games in this week, so 3 players. I'm not telling you the other 2, so.
No, I was going to say you're not going to jinx it then.
No, I got Morgan and Asensio as well, so.
Oh, there you go.
3 of them on the.
Great day for you today, then potentially. Forget about the game itself. It's all about Elmo's fantasy league at this point, Alan.
Yeah. I don't do the fantasy thing. I'm not really into all that. I'm too old. No.
I've only just shown him how to work Instagram with one app at a time.
I used to do bits and pieces, but I've got enough to do to worry about the football team rather than me putting pressure on them to be in my fantasy team, because I'd be like that with them. Come on, boys, I've got you in my team. Listen, I was going to say one thing about Ollie Watkins. Don't worry about the record. He's going to get that. And I don't think he's bothered about it, but it's not something he's worried about. That's going to come eventually, and I think you'll see it in his play that nothing will be too excitable for him, nothing will be stressed about it. He knows it's coming. He doesn't need to worry about that. He just needs to make sure his performances of the team are spot on and they create chances for him. Ollie will do the rest. Don't worry about that.
We talk about this squad game though, and the fact that we can have Ollie Watkins on the bench to come on. We saw against Southampton the 3 subs that came on and scored the 3 goals to win the game 3-0 there. Newcastle don't have that strength and depth on their bench. They've been very fortunate in terms of the injuries, but it's been well noted the fact that they do have that small squad. So in terms of if this game is going the distance, impact off the bench for changes that are made, you'd be perhaps more confident Villa would be in a stronger position than Newcastle, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the bench now in modern day football is hugely important, and the lads that came off the bench recently for Aston Villa have done the job like Elmo said, and they've made an impact in the game. I think it shows with Newcastle not making a change for the last 3 games where their squad sits at the moment. So the longer the game goes, you'd like to think substitutions for Aston Villa can make an impact.
Right, lads. In terms of predictions then, because we're nearly done for the remainder. So, I'm going to start with you, please. Predictions. Goal scorers?
Ollie Watkins, Morgan, Marcus Rashford.
Nicely done. It's as if you knew I was going to ask you that straight away off the
I was
bat.
preparing for it, Katie.
James.
I've got an entertaining game, but 1-0 Aston Villa.
Ooh, your goal scorer.
Comes in with it.
What's that? Okay.
He's going for a centre half, that's why.
To be fair,
Honestly.
From his goal the other night, it wouldn't be one bit. Right, there you go.
Listen, James might be right, because set pieces is going to be important for both teams.
Yeah.
2 teams are very important, for them today. So,
Alan, predictions?
Tight game. I don't know if we'll stop them scoring, but I'd say the same thing about Newcastle stopping us scoring. We'll win 2-1 rather, and the goalkeeper to get both goals. Martinez. No, listen. Ollie will get 1. Tielemans will get 1. We'll win 2-1, and we can look forward to Tuesday night against Man City.
3 points to close that gap.
Absolutely.
To within 2 points there, but really it's all about that fight for 4th and 5th though for Villa, isn't it? Right, lads, that is pretty much us done. But before we go though, I want to tell you, of course, about the FA Youth Cup final, which is going to be at Villa Park. Make sure to keep an eye on the website for your chance to buy tickets. It is on Monday, the 5th of May, kick off at 3 p.m. But of course, that is a bank holiday, just as a reminder, taking on Man City in the FA Youth Cup final. Right, though, that is everything from us pitchside. Make sure to join us, though, after the game for our post-match live. James, you are on co-com, so we better let you go. You're up there alongside...
Debut.
oh!
He's
Debut, double dunk debut.
Alan's got somewhere more important than
I can't wait to see you screaming when you're in the score.
We can't wait, so make sure then to head to Villa TV for audio of James's co-coms alongside Mark Regan. Enjoy the game and up the Villa.
Welcome to Villa Park, welcome to Villa TV as well. We've got a little patchy skies above us today, a little bit of a wind blowing, fairly chilly as well, as it's a massive, massive game.